What's up, superstars? On this video, we're going to be doing another UV demonstration. We're going to be putting up a sign for our business. Now, this is one of the things that UV-DTF can do, and we actually got this great idea from our customer, Kenneth. He's been coming here for quite a while now, and he's talked about this new project that he did with UV-DTF and how he put up a sign for the county, and it looked really, really good. And he was able to do it for cheap, and it, again, looked very, very professional. This is a business on its own, and he wanted to share it with us so that we can share it with you guys. I also wanted to thank another customer, Doug, who has been ordering from us frequently. He sends Ubers to pick up his orders, and they have a hard time finding our business. So we wanted to go ahead and put up a sign just like he suggested. So again, thank you, Douglas, for that suggestion. So what we're going to be doing next, again, is putting up a sign right outside our business. We're going to go through a step-by-step process. So let's follow along.
All right, guys, let's go ahead and talk about this project. So I actually got this idea on Friday. I went ahead and ordered everything off of Amazon, and I was able to get everything by Monday. So I'm able to already start making my sign. It was just that quick. So let's talk about everything that I ordered so far. So I went ahead and started with the plexiglass. This is actually a 2-pack that I got off of Amazon, and I decided to go with a pretty thick one. So they come in various sizes. I believe the most common is you're going to be getting this at 3mm, and this is the 6mm. So it's extra thick, and it's going to look a lot more premium in my opinion once everything is set up, because it just looks like a nice thicker glass. Now it looks like it's all fogged up because there's actually a layer that you can peel off, and I'm not going to peel it off yet. But these are basically the boards that I got, and they're actually sized at, I believe, 12 inches here, and then it's going to be 24 inches here. So my design when I was making it, since I knew the height was going to be maxed out at 12 inches, I wanted to make sure that I resized this and I kept it within range. So I left it at 11.5 inches. So it's just a little bit smaller than the max, but it's going to fit. And then when I resize this to about 11.5, I'm getting a max width about 18 inches. So I'm just getting about 6 inches hanging from the side, which is going to be enough for me to put the mounts and everything included. So it's going to be like this, and then I'm going to be putting the mount points right here and right here. It's just going to look really nice once I'm done with everything. What else did we get from Amazon? In order to drill onto plexiglass, you're going to need a special drill bit, and we went ahead and got these off of Amazon. You know, the price of one was about $9, so instead of getting just one, I went ahead and got the whole set of 10 pieces, and it was $13. The bit that we're going to be using is going to be the 5/16, and this is going to work with the mounts that I'll show you later. It has a sharp pointed tip, and this is what's going to help you drill through the plexiglass without actually cracking it. That's what I hope. Again, I've never put this together, so I'm excited to see how this turns out. Besides this, we also went ahead and got these mounts. This is for acrylic, for plastic. These mounts are like this. I'm gonna screw it. This was about $12 here. So this comes in a pack of 8. So again, I can make multiple. I already have 2 plexiglass. And the way this works is if you unscrew this top part right here, this is gonna be the hole that I need to put into the plexiglass. Because all I'm going to be putting is I'm gonna be drilling this tiny hole into the wall. It's gonna be held on through an anchor and another screw. And then finally, once the glass is in place, this is going to screw on top of it, so it's a nice clean finish. And there's also a rubber washer in there, so it's going to be non-slip, and it's just going to look very good. I'm really excited to see once I put this up. Some of the tools that we're also going to be using in this particular case is I have a adjustable impact. So what this does is it helps me create holes here so that I can go ahead and get a nice drill line, avoid any cracks. I'll also have a link below for that. I'm going to get a leveler so that I can level the sign outside. I have a squeegee for my UV-DTF transfer. I'm going to have a permanent marker to mark the plexiglass. I have a T-ruler to help me get those lines straight. I'm going to also have some concrete anchors. I may not be able to use this. Again, it's going on a concrete wall, but because the hole in the bracket here is a bit small, I don't think I'm going to be able to use this. I might have to just forfeit and use the actual anchors that are included there, which is not as strong as these concrete ones, but it might have to just do for what we're trying to get done. And the last thing is I have 2 drill bits here. So I have a normal drill bit. This is a Milwaukee that I'm going to be using. If this is not strong enough for the concrete, then I'm going to be using a plug-in drill to get that concrete drilled through. So that's basically everything that I'm going to be needing for this job. without further ado, let's go ahead and get to the install. Let's go ahead and get started. So I'm gonna go ahead and remove one of these that we're not gonna be using, and we're only gonna be using this right here. So next thing I'm going to do is I'm gonna take my ruler and I'm gonna start marking some important areas. So for example, this is gonna be a 12-inch board, so I'm gonna go ahead and mark the midpoint. So that's going to be 6 right here. And then because my ruler is not long enough, I'm going to mark another 6. And then let's put another 6 right there. All right, don't mind that right there. And then after I get that midpoint, I'm also going to need the midpoint here. So this was 24 inches across. So I just need the 12 inches down the center. 12 inches. All right, so that's the point that I want. I'm gonna go ahead and flip it around. This is gonna act as my grid. So when I lay the transfer down right here, I can use this as a reference point to get from point to point and also from point to here. So I can try to do my best to get it right in the middle. There's plenty of room for me to actually put the anchor points here. I'm gonna actually do about 1.5 inches in. Okay, so let's go mark about 1.5 inches in and then about 1.5 inches here. So that's the point. So let me go ahead and confirm that. There. I just wanted something that it wasn't too close to the edge where it may crack. So I'm just gonna go ahead and choose 1.5 inches. That is, again, guys, just an eyeball. There's no real reason for me to go with that. So 1.5 inches, that's the next point. So let me double check. All right, let me go ahead and mark the other ones. All right, so those are all the points that I have marked up. Let's go ahead and drill these out. Okay, let's go ahead and mark the holes. It's already marked with the permanent marker, but I'm gonna use one of these punchers here. Actually, I'm gonna move this here so that I have more surface area, and I'm gonna go ahead and punch right there. All right, and you guys are wondering what this does. It actually creates a little bit of a dent right there so that the drill bit will sit right on top of it and it's not gonna move around and swirl around. So that's the point of that. So let's go ahead and get our drill. And this is gonna be a 5/16 drill bit. And if you guys are wondering how I came about the 5/16, this is basically the size of the screw head. So it will line up and hopefully create enough of a hole so that this can slide in right here. So let's go ahead and hope this works. I've never drilled through acrylic before, so let's go ahead and see. Again, with the tip right here, it goes on top of the impact point and it just sits right there. It's nice and perfect. I have it edged up just a little bit so that there's room for me to drill through. All right, let's double check. Again, I barely used any force. I didn't want to put too much force there. It looks like it doesn't fit still, so I'm gonna be increasing that bit afterwards. If this is the case, I'm gonna actually change it to a smaller bit and do the same thing. So it went through once already, I know it goes through. Let's just go ahead and put the appropriate bit in there so that we can get an easier job done. So instead of using the 5/16, I'm gonna go ahead and use the 3/8. I originally want to make a smaller pilot hole to get it going, but I don't know if that's a good idea. I just don't want it to crack as I'm using it, so I'm gonna stick with just using one bit. I'm gonna carefully do this extended part here. Okay, so that's pretty good. I'm gonna change my idea again. I'm gonna go back, grab a smaller drill bit, create a pilot hole first, and then drill it through like that because I like the way it fits. So this, wow, fits perfect, guys. So that's perfect. Let's go ahead and drill the second hole. Again, I'm not using too much pressure. I'm letting the bit do its job. Okay, now let's go ahead and put the 3/8. All right, perfect. Got all the holes drilled out. Double check that everything fits. All right, everything fits. It's perfect. I really like the way that this has a big edge here. So this helps hide any imperfections, any bad cuts, basically anything. So I really like how this is a lot wider. I believe this is about a 1-inch top right there. So that's a really good thing. So now everything's good. Let's go ahead and I'm gonna go ahead and clear it out my workspace. I'm gonna vacuum everything up so that we can get a nice surface so that we can start laying our UV transfer. All right guys, so I'm gonna get ready to put the transfer down on this plexiglass, and I'm a bit nervous and also excited. A bit nervous because I've never applied a transfer this size before. So again guys, really excited to see how it's gonna turn out. Hopefully we follow the steps and we have some tips and tricks along the way to help us get this aligned right. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get this done. Now I set myself up with some things that will help out, which is to actually use the backside of this plexiglass, and I made some lines and some grids so that I can know where the midpoint is gonna be at. So that's gonna help me align it up. Another thing that helps me out is our logo. It's actually pretty pointy on certain areas, so I'll know pretty much where the midpoint is gonna be at. So I made a little bit of a line right here just to help me align this straight. And we're gonna go ahead and use a heat press pad underneath here. This will help me keep it from scratching underneath and moving at the same time. So let's go ahead and get our blue tape and let's go ahead and get this prepped up. So I'm gonna line this up, and that's gonna be the center. I'm gonna go ahead and tape down the corner. Okay, now I've kind of got it pre-taped. I'm gonna go to flip this back around, and I'm gonna go ahead and take out this clear plastic film. Once I take this film out, I'm gonna basically get ready to tape this top part down. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and tape this top side of the transfer down.
Good.
All right, let's go ahead and remove the protective coating. Go ahead and lay it down one more time. And then we're gonna go ahead and start removing the top. Let me just turn this sideways so I can get a better angle at this. All right, so I'm just gently removing a thin layer. Gonna carefully bring the sign back up. Okay, now that some of the transfer is starting to expose right here, I'm going to carefully pull this towards the left side here while I will gently use the squeegee and okay guys, it looks pretty good to me right now. I did a pretty good job at squeegeeing everything down and minimizing any bubbles that I had. So I'm gonna go ahead and peel carefully. Make sure you guys, this is something that you wanna peel very carefully. It's not very forgiving as far as once you pull it out, so just take your time, just do like what I did, and you should be able to pull everything out. So let's just carefully start to remove the clear. And if for some reason any part of the clear is not removing from the transfer, we'll carefully just squeegee it back flat down. Then when you get to the corners, just carefully get to it. There you go, guys. Pretty good. Let me just finish it up. Looks really good. Let's turn it around, remove the rest of the blue tape. And now we can remove the backing here because we're already done. Let's turn it around. Wow, look at that. Let's finish it off. We're gonna add these first. All right, there you guys go. All that's left to do is to put this up. So I went ahead and took 4 of these off from the corners so I can get a clear point so that I can mark the holes to drill through the concrete. I also went ahead and taped on a leveler here so that one person can actually technically do this themselves. So let's go ahead and get up there. Okay, so we went ahead and used points because we wanted to kind of get an idea of where we wanted to mount this at. And this is where we came into the conclusion, which is going to be in the middle of this light that we have hanging here. I'm going to line this up to the bottom. So it's roughly right there, and then let me get this straight. All right, this double check, centered, 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 centered. All right, we're ready to drill through this concrete block. Because the surface is uneven, I'm going to use a pointer here to kind of get me through the hole. Okay. All right, let's get these anchors in. All right, guys, we're getting ready to put the last screw in. I already have 3 screws mounted. It's nice and even with this leveler, so this is a great trick that I have here. And again, make sure you guys put the rubber spacer here, the silicone rubberish spacer there. That helps from keeping this from moving. I'm probably gonna end up putting either super glue or some epoxy so that I'll keep these screws in place. But for the most part, this is how it looks. It is tight. You know, very, very tight, centered. I'm gonna go ahead and remove this leveler. All right. What do you guys think? This is my very, very first time putting together this sign. Of course, there are probably steps that I might have missed or areas that I can improve on. I already can think of a few, but let me know what you guys think so far. And if you guys have any comments or any suggestions, I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments below. My name is Phil. I'll catch you guys on that next tutorial.